what's up, fellas? How you doing, man? Antonelli here. All right, so today I want to talk about getting booed as a player. If you've been watching Major League Baseball, you know that the Mets, Lindor, Baez, Kevin Pillar, they've been getting booed a lot. Well, really the entire Mets team has been getting booed. And what Lindor, Pillar, and Baez have decided to do is when they're getting big hits, they're giving the thumbs down to the Mets fans. So Baez said, when we don't get success, we're going to get booed. So they're going to get booed when we have success. So I don't know if I've seen that one before, but I do have a lot of experience getting yelled at and booed on the field. And so I want to give you my experience and kind of my thought as a player when I'm getting booed. Okay, so let's go through the times that I got booed. And there's more times than this, but these are the ones that kind of stick out in my head. So the first time that I didn't get booed, but I got yelled at, I guess I got heckled by my own fans. And let's preface it with that. You're kind of expected on the road, like you're gonna get yelled at a lot. You're gonna get booed. I remember at Dodger Stadium, just trying to hit in the on-deck circle or get my timing down. You know, people are right behind you and they're gonna call you a bunch of names. They're gonna say you stink. And again, that's normal on the road. But what we're talking about here is at home. When your home crowd, your home fans who are supposed to be cheering for you are booing for you or yelling at you, okay? So the first time this happened was in Eugene, Oregon. If you watch my channel, you've probably heard me say this before. It was our first home game of my professional career. It was my first at bat, and as I'm walking to the plate, some lady from right behind our dugout gets up and screams, "Come on, Matt, you gotta start earning some of that money." And this became a joke. My buddy Whey LeBlanc would always say it anytime really anything happened. He'd say, "Come on, Matt, gotta start earning some of that money." So I had just been drafted high and I hadn't even had an at-bat in front of my home fans yet. And they're yelling at me that I need to earn my paycheck. So that was the first time probably in my life where I'm getting yelled at by someone that's supposed to be cheering for me. And I kind of had to process it. I know I'm walking to the plate and I immediately was like, geez, like these people are harsh. They're gonna be all over me for the entire season. So that's the first time I realized that people are going to boo and people are going to yell at you. Okay, so the next time, again, maybe not the next time, but the next time I kind of remember getting booed a lot was in 2008. I was in Portland, Oregon. It was the first time in my career where I really struggled. I had never struggled before that moment. And I hit under 200 for most of that year. Now that season at home, it felt like I was yelled at, booed, every time I came to the plate. Because in right center field or in right field, they had the scoreboard and it would show my big face on there, whoever was batting, and then it would show your statistics. And every fan, not just every fan, every player, every time I went to the plate, walked up there, I could see my average. And so once people see that you're hitting under 200, they're gonna start to get on you, whether they're home fans, away fans. But every time at our home ballpark, I'd be walking to the plate or in the box and I'd hear a lot of people screaming like, "Nice batting average. Kid can't even hit his weight." Like that happened like every at bat, people would be yelling at me. And I do feel, you know, I've talked about this before, when you're not going well and you're struggling, you hear like everything. It's like you can just hear people. It sounds like they're standing like where the umpire or the catcher is standing. When you're hitting well, you don't hear anything. Now, I will say that you're not going to get yelled at a lot when you're hitting really well. So maybe that's why you don't hear it as much. But I do think there is something to be said about kind of being in the zone and being focused when you're doing really, really well and then not having that ability as much when you're struggling. So I heard that a ton that year. Now it's really tough being booed, and I want to kind of give you from a player's perspective what's going through your head. I'll say the first thing is, it is extremely frustrating to struggle. Nobody wants to do better than the player, I would say in most instances. It's my career, right? Like I can get fired at any moment. I can never play baseball again at any moment. So there's a lot of pressure on players when they're not doing well, right? So a player is already feeling it. I don't want to hit 180. I've dedicated my whole life to try to do well in this sport, and I'm not doing well. I've spent like every minute of every day trying to get better. Maybe not every minute, but every day I'm doing something over the last 10 years to try to do well and try to get to the major leagues. So I am not happy that I'm hitting 180. So I can't sleep at night. Like, I'm waking up seeing 170 on the scoreboard. It's all I can think about pretty much all day long. And in some instances, I'm depressed. Now, to give you a quick example, in 2012, I was with the Orioles. I was on the 40-man roster, and it was a really tough offseason for me before I got there. I hurt my wrist in Washington or with the Nationals. I had to get wrist surgery. Couldn't really do anything during the offseason. Was in a cast, and I was rehabbing, couldn't really hit. Went to big league spring training with the Orioles. I hit okay, but I could never really get it going. When I got to the season, I was sent to AAA Norfolk, and when I got there, I couldn't get it going. I struggled. I was hitting probably around 200 again, and I just kind of reached my breaking point. I couldn't take not getting hits anymore. And so it got so bad towards the end of my stint there, because I ended up getting sent to the Yankees. But it was so bad, we were playing at home, and I got out for what felt like the 300th time in a row. And I walked into the clubhouse, and I was not in a good mental state. I walked into the batting cage, and there was a huge bucket of balls. It was actually a shopping cart, like this huge grocery cart. It had like 1 million balls in it. And I took those baseballs and I threw almost every one of them as hard as I could. I think I was trying to injure myself, or I wanted my arm to fall off. It felt like it was going to fall off. And I'm just heaving these things. I kind of wish now that they had a video camera set up so I could go back and see what an absolute psychopath I look like doing this. But I threw every ball as hard as I could. And then I went home after the game ended. That was my last at-bat of the game. I went home and I told Laura, I said, I can't do this anymore. Like, I was such in a bad mental place. I just said, I'm driving home. Like, I can't do it. I cannot hit like this anymore. And it was so bad that later that night, I didn't even know that what this was at the time, but I had a panic attack. I'd never had one of these before. I couldn't breathe. I literally laid on my living room floor, which felt like I did it the whole night. So those are the type of things that can happen to players. But at the same time, I get it. Like, fans are paying to come to the game. They have every right to boo as loud as they want, to yell at players. They want to win. They expect you to play a certain way, and when you don't play that way, that's unacceptable to a lot of fans. Not every fan, but to a lot of fans. And so fans have every right to boo. Fans sometimes want to win more than the players want to win, or more than certain players want to win. So I totally get it. But as a player, I've just felt like it never helps. I don't think it gets any player to say, you know what, you're right. I'm not playing well, and now I'm going to play really well, because the player's already trying to play. In most instances, trying to play as well as they can. I've never met a player that says, I don't want to play well tonight. And so oftentimes hearing that can kind of make a player sometimes press even more. Like, I already knew I'm hitting 180, but it keeps being refreshed in my mind because everyone is booing at me and yelling at me every single time I come to the plate. And sometimes you say to yourself, like, I just want to shut these people up. I have to do well, and then you press even more. So it can be very frustrating to struggle. I get this fan's perspective. I get why Baez and Lindor and Pilar are upset. I've just never seen anyone give the thumbs down to the fans. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Hopefully I've given you some good insight into what it's like to struggle. Let me know if you have any more questions also. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, give it a thumbs up, all that good stuff. We'll talk to you later. If you've enjoyed this video and want to learn more about building the elite swing, check out our new course. We have over 2 hours of content, almost 30 hitting drills. We break down the exact mechanics that you're going to want to implement into your swing. I've put the link in the description if you want to go check it out.